videos, what's happening? Check it out. I'm back here in the garage, unlike the last video you guys saw, and I'm just looking around trying to figure out what am I going to do next, because the Tramp is in perfect running shape, the Softail is in perfect running shape. I do have the Ironhead project, and I'm still waiting on my heads because I can't put the top end together without some heads. Imagine that. So while I am still waiting on those heads, I thought, well, what am I going to do with this Ironhead now? What can I do? I thought, maybe I know, maybe I'll just take a stab at trying to make a Fender Strut for the rear fender. I need to have something to suspend that rear fender, and I want to utilize the bungs on this Sissy bar. Of course, this is not going to be the Sissy bar for this bike, because the next Sissy bar is going to be really tall in order to run that really obnoxious seat. Anyway, what, Mr. Cat? What's going on? I got a couple of fenders. I'm not quite sure which fender I'm going to use. This one here is the original fender that came off the Ironhead. This one here is another fender that I had just laying around. I have a couple of pieces of raw material, pieces of flat bar that are about an 1/8 inch thick. I think I'm going to end up using this one right here, but I was messing around with this piece in order to try and get an idea how I'm going to make a strut out of this piece right here. I'm going to try and use this piece right here as a jig to bend this piece the way I want it to bend. I'm pretty much taking a stab in the dark with this, so let's see how badly I can mess this up, and you guys can have something to laugh about once it's all over with. All right? Okay, this is what I've got so far. It could probably stand to be bent a little bit more. It's still got some flex to it, but so far let's see how well it fits the contour of the inner diameter of the fender. Well, let's say that's pretty close. I would still like to close up some of this gap right here and have a perfect dimension there. But then again, if it clears the tire, I may not have to make it do that. After all, if it gets the job done, then I really won't have much to worry about. I'm gonna go ahead and see if it does. And if it does, then I'm gonna say to heck with it. Let's see how this goes. Well, I think I like what I see. Check it out. Now I know that's just a relative sense of where it's gonna be located. That's about how high the fender is gonna be from the tire. It looks like that is going to work, so not bad. So at least you guys get a little bit of an idea of how that's going to happen. But once the thing finally gets cut and it finally gets bent into the shape it needs to be, it's going to have a hole drilled in here for the bolt to go through here and screw into that bung. Likewise the same on that side. This is an exact way how I did the Tramp. The Tramp has the exact same scenario on it. Nobody taught me to do that. That's just what I came up with in my head when I built the Tramp, and I figured I can do the same thing here on this Ironhead. So, but that's that. So I'm going to stop it right here, and I'll see you guys the next day. Okay, now it's the next day. As you can tell, different shirt, and I shaved a little bit. How pretty, right? Anyway, just kidding. Before I go any further with messing with the flat bar and getting it where I want it to get and doing any drilling, what I also need to do is that I need to decide which fender I'm going to use. And I think what I'm going to choose is I'm going to choose this fender right here, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to do some cutting on it, okay, to make it work out. And what I'm going to do is I want to cut this excess, whatever it is, fender off of here, and I'm going to have this really cool little I don't know what you call that. But that thing right there, this fender doesn't have that. So I think with this cut off, I can visually see it'll have this type of effect all the way down the fender. As to where this one here, it'll just have a, you know, nothing decorative about it. As you can see, I'll give you an example, because I did that very same thing with the Tramp when I made its fender. As you can see here, the fender is great. It works great with this motorcycle, but you know, there's nothing decorative about it. It just is what it is. But it used to have a little bit of a flare that would come out like that blue fender in there. So I just cut along the edge and then I cleaned this up. But if I do it with the Ironhead fender, like I said, I'm going to have this cool little, I don't know what you call it, but I think it'll look good. So blah, 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 blah. Let's quit talking and let's get to chopping. Well, this flopper wheel looks like it's seen better days, but it's still got some life left into it. But that's what happens whenever you use stuff. So let's get to it. Okay, now that I'm not at a risk at slicing open an artery while handling this, let's see what we can do with this whole strut situation now. Actually, I waited till tomorrow to try it out. Now it's tomorrow. That was yesterday, so this is what I've done so far. I've got the fender set on top of the tire. I got my little rubber hose between the fender and the tire, one right here, just basically to suspend this fender right here. What I'm going to do before I start messing with this homemade strut, I've got these, I don't know what you call them, but they go on an old panhead or a knucklehead. They kind of look like conduit straps. These are actually meant for mounting the fender, which I kind of wish that I came across them before I bought this thing here from Lowbrow. This is a weld-on style of fender mount. So it goes onto your frame. It comes with these bolts and these weld-on bungs and stuff like that. I really didn't want to do any welding, but I didn't foresee any other way of doing that other than using an application like this, because that's what I used on the Tramp. But when I came across these things on eBay and found out what they were for, well, I'm a whole lot better at marking my spot, drilling holes and bolting stuff together. So I'm not really a fabricator, not really a welder. I can cut, I can grind, I can drill, I can tap, I can bolt stuff together, and I can weld a little bit, but for structural stuff, that looked like a better idea than what I bought before. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make my little marks with a marker right there in these holes so that I can drill my holes, get my bolts in there, get them bolted to the fender. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to move the fender up with this thing underneath the fender and pretty much eyeball it where this piece of fender eventually makes its way up above this bung. And then I can make my holes on this thing, and then, you know, you get the idea. So enough of my talking, I'm going to go ahead and start messing with this. Okay, fast forward a bit. I was not going to be able to put this on the fender, on the Sissy bar with the wheel in the way. So I've got the tire out of the way, sitting over here. So what I think I'm going to do, and what I'm going to have to do is, well, I'll show you what I've already done. You probably can't see it, but I took a Sharpie and I marked my spots right here so that whenever this thing goes up in here, I'll know how to line the strut up in here. And I lined the strut up with this bung right here. But I need this thing to stay put inside the fender, fastened in there somehow, in order for me to make my marks to drill my bolt holes to screw into the bungs on the sissy bar right there. So I know there's a shot in the dark that I'm gonna do, and you guys get to see how badly I'm gonna mess this up. Or maybe it's success, I don't know. Let's see what happens now. Well, that was long and fun. Took a little bit of creativity, took a little bit of patience, took a lot of whatever. But I've not done anything like that since I've built the Tramp. And I learned a few things on this one. The one mistake, actually it wasn't even a mistake, it's just the default of how things worked out. Because of where these bungs are, gave a default to where the strut, how it would come across, which pretty much put these acorn nuts in front of the sissy bar, which is not too favorable. That is if you want to have a back seat, but that can be fixed. And the one fix is relocating where these are going to go. Maybe I should have put them here, right there, kind of like I did with the Tramp. But anyway, I really like how it turned out. I mean, these turned out to work out pretty good. Everything is sturdy. I mean, look at that. And I've got plenty of clearance for the wheel to turn. So I know I'm going to turn out to be pretty good like that. So anyway, that was fun. I haven't done any kind of grinding and cutting and drilling in such a while since I built the Tramp. But anyway, there she sits, ready to be worked on again for the next episode. And what that episode is, I have no idea. Just like I say, I don't know what I'm going to film next. But needless to say, it may be interesting. So if you guys appreciate this video and you like what you've seen, just go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. And if you're new to the whole channel, go ahead and subscribe for more videos coming up. And feel free to follow me on Facebook and Instagram. And you keep the rubber side down, and you guys be good to yourselves. Thanks a lot.